We're going to replace the entire locking mechanism on a brake lever today. You'll want a couple of things. This is the lock mechanism. We have the lock, we have the linear spring, the screw, the washer, and the lock washer. And then we're probably going to want a 5mm hex wrench to loosen our brake levers so that we can get in there and work on it. And then a Phillips head screwdriver, probably a PH2, so that we can actually work on the screw on the lock mechanism. So the first thing we want to do is loosen up the brake lever some so that we can access it. So you see the lock is on the underside. So it'll make our lives easier if we loosen this brake lever on the clamp and rotate it up so that everything doesn't fall off while we're trying to work on it. And then I'm going to tighten the brake lever back in place a little bit at a time so that it's not moving while I'm trying to work. There we go. And now that the brake lever is tight, I'm going to remove the entire lock by loosening the screw with my Phillips head screwdriver. And once I remove it, we can lift out the lock mechanism and set it aside. And we can put on our new one. As we put on the new one, you'll notice that the backing piece for the linear spring will bump into the stop here, something like that, I think. We can check our work as we put the lock on, and you'll see that the lock will catch on there. And I think that's showing us that we want to be sure that the backing piece for the spring is in front of that stop, like so. And then there's the hook that will catch on. So there's the backing piece, there's the stop, there's the hook, and our locking latch will go through here and go inside of that hook and sit just in the back of the stop. And when you do that, you want to be sure that you don't disturb the way the spring is set on there. So if you're looking closely, you'll see that the spring is still hitting the stop. If you push it too far, the spring will unwind, it'll miss its stop, and then it won't work. And that may be the problem that got us here in the first place, is just that the spring is not seated right any longer. So once we have that, we have to hold the lock in place, and it can help to have a friend to hold things for you while you do this, because you've got to get the plain washer on top first. Then you've got to get your lock washer above that. And then you've got to thread the Phillips head screw through that entire setup and thread it in place. And once you get it in, check the spring again. You'll see the spring is latched around the end of the lock there, and the back piece of the spring is just around the stop there. And then you should be able to tighten the Phillips head screw up, and then we'll be able to see our lock in action. You notice how the lock springs released as soon as we let it go, but with the lever pushing on the lock, it cams shut. When I pull the lever again, the lock springs open. I can put it in place, it stays, springs open, etc. So we know the lock is operating right at this point. We can loosen our brake lever again with the 5mm Allen wrench, hex key. Once we've got it loose, we can rotate it back into our preferred position here, and we can lock the split clamp on the lever once more so that the lever will stay in place on the handlebars. And once we've got that, we want to make sure that our brake lever is operating right, and we can take it for a test ride and see how it is. Thank you.